My best friend told me I was the before picture in every room we walked into, but she couldn't believe what I did next. Growing up, Candace didn't just tease me. She built an identity for me and forced me to live inside it. Every introduction came with a label. This is Mara. She's like the useful one in our group. Not pretty, not desirable, just useful. If we took photos, she'd glance at the screen and go, "Wait, stand a little behind me. Your face is giving me a bad vibe." If I laughed too loud, she'd lean in and whisper, "Relax, girl. You're not cute enough to be quirky." Once, in a dressing room, she looked me up and down and said, "You know you're the type guys date to feel better about themselves, right? I think you should relish that." I laughed it off because that's what I always did. But those words stuck. They built something ugly in my head. Every mirror became proof. Every compliment felt like a mistake. Candace was beautiful, effortless, the kind of girl people noticed immediately, and next to her, I felt like a shadow. When I was 23, I hit a point where I couldn't stand hearing her voice in my head anymore. I didn't want to fix how I looked. I wanted to fix how I felt existing in my own body. I signed up for a local improv class on a whim. It sounded terrifying. Standing on stage, being seen, being judged in real time. The exact opposite of hiding. The first class, I could barely speak. My voice cracked during introductions. My hands shook, but no one laughed at me. They laughed with me. There was this energy in the room, people building off each other, creating something out of nothing. I started going twice a week, then 3. I watched recordings, practiced exercises alone in my apartment, learned timing, learned presence. I stopped shrinking myself mid-sentence. There was this guy, Adrian, who ran the sessions. He was sharp, observant, the kind of person who noticed everything. After a few weeks, he started pairing me up for scenes more often. "You commit fully," he told me once. That's rare. No one had ever said something like that to me before. Meanwhile, Candace was obsessed with a new guy from her firm, Ethan. He was successful, well-connected, exactly her type. She talked about him constantly. "He's not like other guys. He actually has standards," she said, looking at me like I was the example of what he'd reject. She started planning this huge launch party for her company's new campaign and made it clear Ethan would be there. "You can come," she told me, like she was doing me a favor. "Just don't do anything embarrassing, and please don't try to be funny. It's painful when you force it." I nodded. I always nodded. But this time, something was different. The night of the party, everything felt staged. The lighting, the music, the people orbiting around Candace like she was the center of gravity. She handed me a plain black dress earlier that week. "This will tone you down," she said. "We don't need 2 people trying to stand out." When I showed up wearing it, she scanned me and nodded. "Good. You look neutral." As guests filled the space, she positioned me the way she always did, close enough to prove she was nice for bringing me, far enough that I didn't compete. Then Ethan walked in, tall, confident, exactly as advertised. Candace lit up. She grabbed my arm and whispered, "Remember, don't say anything weird. Just smile. You're my background for tonight." I felt that familiar tightening in my chest. The old version of me would have stayed there, quiet, small, but then I heard a voice from across the room. "Mara?" I turned. Adrian was walking toward me, grinning like he'd just spotted something incredible. Behind him were a few people from our improv group. "What are you doing here?" he asked, pulling me into a quick hug. Before I could answer, he turned to the people around him. "This is the one I told you about. The girl who carried that blackout scene last week when everything fell apart." My brain stalled. Candace's grip on my arm tightened. "Wait, you do improv?" She cut in, her voice sharp. I looked at her. "Yeah," I said, "for a while now." Adrian kept talking. He told them about my timing, how I turned mistakes into punchlines, how I made scenes better just by being in them. "She's fearless up there," he said. "Like she does stuff you can't teach." People started asking me questions about shows, about classes, about how I got into it, and I answered everything. Candace tried to redirect the conversation back to her campaign, to Ethan, to anything that put her back in control, but it didn't stick. At one point, Ethan looked at me and said, "Wait, you perform? That's actually impressive." Candace laughed too quickly. "It's just a little hobby," she said. I met his eyes. "It's not little to me." He nodded. "Yeah, I can tell." Adrian pulled out his phone and showed a clip from one of our performances. In it, I was loud, animated, completely unrecognizable from the version of me Candace had curated. People laughed watching it, not at me, because of me. Candace went quiet, really quiet. The kind of quiet where you can feel something cracking. "You never told me about this," she said finally, her voice thin. I shrugged. "You never asked me anything that wasn't about how I looked standing next to you."